So you have to start to think. Now, if you're struggling with that, all right, first and foremost thing, you can just start, that really will start to breathe this type of mentality is physical conditioning, right? Right? If you have strength, you can push and pull, you can fight, you can scratch, you can punch, right? If you can do those things, if you're physically strong, your chances go up. If you have endurance, right? The old movie Zombieland, rule number 1, cardio. If you can outrun your attacker, if you can outlast, if you can kick, you can scream, you can fight off, you can engage, you can hold, right? If you have endurance, boom, probability goes up. Pretty simple. If you're quick, right? If you're quick, if you have quick movements, if your hands are quick, if you can dodge, if you can run, if you can shift, if you can move quickly and jump over things, hop over obstacles, jump over cars, jump through windows. So strength, endurance, and quickness, those are the core things. Are you doing that, or are you just going to lay down on the ground and be a victim? Any modicum of strength is massive. One of the leading indicators of strength is, can you do a pull-up? How many pull-ups can you do? How fast can you sprint 40 meters, right? How much can you deadlift? How much can you push? How much can you curl? How hard can you kick a big Muay Thai bag or punch a punching bag? Can you deliver any kind of impact, or are you just going to be a victim? So that's first place. Out of the development of that core strength development, guess what? You're going to start to get stronger mentally too. You're going to start to feel more confident in yourself. You're going to start to be able to accept that fear's a reality, but I'm strong enough to endure this. I'm strong enough to face what I have to face. Begins to shift all those ideas about fear and violence. The other one is mental conditioning, right? Mental training. Now, one of the first things that you got to do is be able to fortify that courage, right? That last part of fear, right? Embracing fear, to live with the courage to do something, right? And that's something that's repetitive. That has to take. You have to think about this. This doesn't happen in the moment, because one of the things that we have categorically proven in so many different ways is you do not rise to the occasion. You do not have the Superman or Supermom moment. It doesn't happen. You fall back on your last level of training or trauma. That's the way we react under fire, right? That's the way it happens. Because in those moments, your heart rate is at about 185, 175. It's outstretched your prefrontal cortex and your ability to have that profound executive function and metacognition going, right? Your limbic system is taken over, right? Your blood is flowing into your biceps, your quads, your glutes, and it's ready to go. And so thinking becomes much more difficult in those. So are you training yourself to think? So when you're doing that physical conditioning, that endurance training, doing sprint work, right? Stop and then try and do problem solving in between, right? You think it's challenging, it's hard, or it's stupid, but it works. Whether that's playing, you do multiple iterations of the sprints, get off, do a little Kim's game, right? You have a cloth, you have 5 items on the cloth, you pull the cloth back, you identify those items, pull it back off, do another series, and then afterwards identify what those items were. You have 30 seconds to do it, right? Being able to think under duress is critical in terms of developing and fortifying that courage. Right. The other aspect is area studies. If you're going someplace, know what you're going into. Know in your community where the most crime takes place. Most areas have crime maps. They know exactly what takes place. There's actually lists of what types of crimes are taking place. If you're going on vacation somewhere, if you're going overseas to England, Germany, or whatever, go to the CIA website, go to the State Department website. Hell, go and search the blogs or the online information that's available. Where are the most dangerous parts of Birmingham or London or Brussels or wherever you're going? You can do that in the United States too. Where in New York City is most of the crime taking place? Where in Chicago? Where in LA? Where in San Diego? Where in Dallas? Educate yourself before you go into a particular place, right? Know what those statistics are, right? On top of that, be able to move effectively. Now we're moving into another level, but mentally develop yourself not to be a victim, right? Be comfortable with violence. Talk about violence. What types of violence works against different attacks? In my mind, the number one type of violence that you should understand and you should be mentally prepared for, emotionally prepared for, is using your gun. That's why we have the Second Amendment. In my mind, every single law-abiding citizen in this country should be able to carry a weapon, and you can in most places. There's some of these draconian places and where you're not allowed to concealed carry, but that's going to be eradicated, my opinion, over the next several years under the Trump administration, and you'll be able to carry concealed everywhere you go in the country. Because that's what's taking place right now. The necessity to carry a firearm everywhere you go is present and real. So why not do it? Well, I don't want the gun, it's uncomfortable. I don't want to, I don't want to have to carry it. And, I don't want to check it in, or, I'm not confident enough. Then what's up? Then go train. It's as simple as that. You'll sit there and you'll watch and, grand total 9, 12 hours of stupid Netflix every week, but you're you're complaining about the presence of violence. You're complaining about the violent nature of all these criminals and illegals that are on the street, but you won't dedicate 1 hour a week at a shooting range, 200 rounds in that hour to get yourself in a way where you can prepare to carry that gun. It's a proven statistical reality that places that have a higher percent of concealed carry with citizens that are willing to execute on their Second Amendment rights, that crime is lower. That's the way it is. So why wouldn't you figure out how to get prepared to do that? Now, the third aspect of training that you have to focus on is tactical training, right? Hands down. And number one aspect of that is to develop your situational awareness, all right? This is very easy to do. I started doing this early with my girls. We would walk into a Target. I'd have them put their backs up against the wall somewhere, and I'd have them scan. I'd say, all right, from left to right, you have 1 minute to scan everything in front of you. I have them close their eyes, and then I have them repeat any probable threat that they thought existed. Yeah, I know what you're thinking already, but Rud, isn't that profiling? Isn't that racist? Isn't that this? Isn't that that? FBI statistics don't lie. That's all I'm going to say about that. FBI statistics don't lie. Look at the FBI statistics. Right? I think, ultimately locked out of social media back in 2020 because I posted the FBI crime statistics from 2019, and I think that's what launched the firestorm that got me locked out of Facebook and Instagram. But here's the deal. I got locked out because they're an inconvenient to social justice warriors. The reality is there's violent crime. Violent crime comes from certain people in certain areas, period. That's what it is. Look at this crime statistics. That's part of your situational awareness. All right? Learn how to profile. Learn what to look for. Learn what to stay away from. Right? Learn what aspects of public life are more dangerous than the others. Right? But the biggest one is to have situational awareness. And what that means is to look around at your environment. Pay attention. Don't have your head in the clouds. Hell, in Boca Raton, Florida, we have one of the worst malls for crime in terms of the parking lots at anywhere in the country. We actually had a serial killer hitting our parking lot several years ago. And the reality is people have their head in the clouds. They think, I'm safe. Nothing's going to happen to me. And I'm not saying you're overwhelmed, but what you do is you make a little check off in your mind. You walk into a place and you make a little check off. What do I see? What do I notice? What prompts me to have pause? What looks unright? Who looks unright? What are they doing? What are they doing? How do I move away from the situation? How do I put different obstacles in between me and a potential threat? Where do I sit? How do I sit in a restaurant? Where do I go? Who do I engage with? If I'm out with my friends and we've been drinking, is there somebody that's keeping their wits about them? Right? These are the things that you have to begin to develop within situational awareness. It's critical. The other is self-defense, right? Self-defense is 100% critical for you to begin to understand. You have to realize that self-defense is a necessity in the modern world. It always has been. And if you're not teaching self-defense, if you're not teaching how to hit, if you're not teaching how to fight, you're wrong. And so that's what you have to begin to do. You have to begin to figure out how to have even a modicum of self-defense, how to break a chokehold, right? How to slip out of it, how to grab, so if someone's grabbing your shirt, how to get their shirt, how to peel off a thumb, right? How to attack a leg, how to attack a nerve on the inside of their leg, how to do a front kick outside leg, right? How to punch somebody in their throat, how to collapse their trachea. All of these things, if someone's on top of you, how do you simp out? How do you push them off? How do you arch or bridge to throw them off balance, to give yourself some space? What do you do when somebody's coming at you with a knife? What do you do when somebody's coming at you with a stick or they have a gun pointed at you, all right? These are all realities that have actual fortified training regimens that you can put into place in order to combat these things. Why aren't you out there figuring out how to do it? Well, I don't want to live in a state like that. I want everybody to be, I'm going to put out good vibes and those good vibes will come back to me. Horseshit. It just is what it is. You cannot let this many savages into your country and expect that this is going to be just happy-go-lucky. We've seen, it's been proven over and over for decade after decade that these people are not assimilating. They don't want assimilating. They're abusing our social good graces. They're abusing our generosity. They're abusing us, right? And these corrupt officials are abusing it as well too. So guess what? It's time to go get prepared. And what does that mean? It means weapons training. Hands down, number one, learn to shoot. Carry that gun on you every day, all day. I know it's uncomfortable at first, but I'm telling you this, once you get good at learning how to handle and shoot a firearm that you can then carry with you, your whole perspective of vulnerability changes. And actually, there's an ease that comes over you in your life. There's a moment where things begin to chill out because you know you will not be the victim. You know that you are not going to be overwhelmed by some crazed degenerate on crack cocaine or fentanyl. You have the power now, and that was given to you. Our forefathers knew the deal, that this is a violent world, right? And it always has been. This illusion that we're smarter and that because we have the freaking internet, that violence is going to be subdued. To hell with that. The way violence is subdued is by people willing to commit violence to violent people, period. And when you don't have enough police officers, you don't have enough of that, you need good Samaritans. And those good Samaritans are the people that have been trained with firearms. Now, if you want to go lesser and you carry bear spray, I'm all right with that. That's not bad, or pepper spray or something like that. But, you get somebody that's all methed out on, and they're going to drink in that stuff. I know, well, a big can of pepper spray. You're not putting a giant can, those large cans in your purse or in your car or anything like that. What works is a pistol, right? Other people might say, well, I'll carry a knife with me. Let me tell you what, unless you're going through level 5 Filipino knife fighting training, you're going to get killed. They're going to take that knife from you. They're going to stab you to death with it, right? Knife fights it's just a crazy thing. I'll carry my little sap tool, my brass knuckles. Yep, maybe. But you better be 245 pounds and can, have a combo or be able to hit or dodge or shoot, or your jiu-jitsu blue belt or whatever it might be. You better have all that with it, because then it doesn't matter, because they're going to collapse the distance and be on top of you. And then the final one, I believe, in terms of tactical training, is activism. You and your community need to get together and start banging on the doors of your city hall, banging on the doors of people who are putting judges in place. You need to vote in the local judges. You need to put hardcore judges that are hard on crime. You need to get out there and be activists to your local mayors and to your state representatives and to your governor to say enough is enough. We're sick of this. We want to protect our own. And if that's not it, then you put together a little citizens patrol, right? You put together a group of people in your communities that go around and they monitor that. They volunteer to keep areas safe and protected from these outside scourges of society. Activism. The other side has been effectively engaged in activism for the last 40, 50 years to get us to the point they are now. Their activism has worked against you. If you're not awake to that right now, then I don't know what's going on. This is what's happening, and this is the moment to begin to push back. High situational awareness, self-defense training, weapons training, and activism. That's what's going to save your society. That's what's going to save the culture of your area you live in. Because guess what? They are not coming to save you. That's the way it is.